today is an obvious fact that marriages are breaking in a very alarming rate. And this will lead me to a question a young man asked me a few weeks ago. He said, what should be grounds for divorce as Christians? And I pondered over the question, and I know that a lot of people have this same question in mind. So we are going to be discussing that today. So
listen up, love is thriving on the relationship hub with the smart couple. Relationship hub with the smart couple. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. We're on relationship hub with the smart couple.
welcome to the Relationship Hub with the Smart Couple. So we are going to go in by leaving this precious woman to start the conversation. What should be legitimate grounds for divorce?
Well, there's not a lot, right? Because it is quite it's a tight covenant, and the grounds for divorce is narrow, but there are grounds for divorce, and one of them, one of the very popular, is when there is abuse in the relationship, and I'm talking about abuse that comes to the point where it impacts your very well-being, where it impacts your life. You know, we've seen stories nowadays of back to back, people being, unalived by their partners in their homes. And I was talking to a lady, and this lady was telling me that someone was advising her lady-in-law, to stay in an abusive relation, an abusive marriage, in order to preserve and save the soul of the abuser.
Wow.
And that is so tough, because this is the reason why many people, both men and women, stay in abusive marriages. And one of the things I want to emphasize is that the covenant of life is more powerful than the covenant of marriage, because you have to be alive
To be married. Yes, ma'am.
When you're dead, all the things you're trying to protect by staying in an abusive marriage will not matter anymore. And after 1 year, 2 years, the person has moved on to marry another person, and the cycle continues because the person was not stopped.
Right.
So if you find yourself in an abusive relationship, psychological abuse, this is very close to me, where a friend of mine was not just physically abused, but psychologically abused, that it affected her mental health.
Oh, wow.
Now she's no longer mentally stable because of the psychological abuse that she endured. And peradventure, you're being abused in one way or the other. You know? We've done a video, the link is going to be in the description, a video that talks about domestic violence, abuse, why people abuse and why the abusers stay. Please, we encourage you to go watch that video. Do not stay for any reason in an abusive marriage, because God doesn't want you to die in that marriage, because you have a destiny to fulfill, and your destiny should not end on the altar of marriage, because you had to be married and then you ended up not able to fulfill your purpose because of an abusive marriage.
And I think another thing I think about that abuse, right, staying in an abusive marriage, either the man or the woman, is that it transcends beyond two of you. It goes beyond just two of you. You are setting you are setting a precedent for your children. And to think that abuse is the normal way to go. Some people, that's why you see that some people that grew up in an abusive home, they replay it in their own lives, because what they saw as a model is that my mom or my dad was being abused and he accepted it like that.
And
so
it's okay.
And it's an okay thing. I can endure it.
Or I can do it.
So that's a big problem. So that's for me, I feel that's one is a good reason to walk away from a marriage. Another valid reason for divorce which is also backed up scripturally, it's adultery
Yeah.
or cheating in our today's world.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Some people might just feel that, for the fact he cheated doesn't mean you should leave, or for the fact she cheated doesn't mean you should just break the marriage. Now, it depends on people, individual.
Yeah.
There are some people that once you break their trust once, it can never be rebuilt. And when there's no trust in marriage, two of you will just be there, and
Yeah.
it might lead to many things. And especially when it has to be with when it's like a chronic kind of cheating that
Yeah.
it's happening over and over again.
Yeah.
It can even lead to life being threatened.
Yes.
Now, if this person, the other spouse that is cheating, go out there and come back with
some
kind of STIs or
Yes.
STDs or the ones that can kill, and it gives it to the innocent one, and that could lead to death. So I encourage that when you are in that situation, evaluate your heart, evaluate yourself. Are you the type that just let it go and you forgive and stay in the marriage? Fine. But if you feel you are not,
Yeah,
I think it's something that you can walk away
I
from.
think something else we also have to address is some people stay,
Yeah.
right? Even though they don't want to stay,
Yeah.
they forgive, but they stay because of the stigma of having to leave their marriage. So I think we need to address that you are the one that was hurt. You are the one that an offense was done to. So why do you have to bear the shame of the offender? Why should you be the one afraid and ashamed of a stigma of what someone did to you? So many times people stay and they suffer in the marriage. They suffer, they are crying every night. There's no intimacy. So the person who cheats just goes on and cheats because the person that was hurt may have forgiven or may not have forgiven, and they just stay in the house.
Yeah.
Maybe because they don't want the kids to know. Maybe the kids are small. Maybe because they just don't know they don't know how to pick up their life.
Yeah.
When they get out of the marriage, and so they stay and endure because of stigma or because of fear of any situation. So what we're saying is this: there is a choice. If all of these things is affecting you spiritually, physically, mentally, the children, it is okay to walk away. Because some people say, you go to hellfire because God hates divorce. When someone cheats on you, like you said, it is a biblical reason to walk away and nothing is going to happen to you. Another valid reason for divorce is very simple. When the person walks away.
Okay.
I mean, the person walks away, there's nothing you can do about it.
It takes two to tango.
It takes two to tango.
So if one said it's not there anymore, and should your life be on hold?
You can't just keep holding on. Please don't leave. As long as they've left. But we need to balance this, right? Because some people say, for example, according to the Bible, right? Some people may have gotten married when they were not Christians, and then they finally gave their life to Christ in the marriage, and then their spouse has not yet converted, and then they say, well, now I don't want to be unequally yoked, so the Bible says we should not be unequally yoked. That's not grounds for divorce. Because
That's
you are
right.
born again and your spouse is not born again,
Yeah.
it's not grounds for divorce. However, it is only grounds for divorce when the person decides to say, get out of my house, or they pack their bags and say, I don't want to do this no more,
I'm
and
leaving
they
you.
leave. The Bible says at that point when they leave, you are free.
Right.
So the only valid reason is not because you're saved or you're born again and the spouse is not, is when they decide to get up and go, or they kick you out and they're like, I don't want
Very
you
true.
anymore. At that point in time, your hands are clean, you're good to go.
And especially when you've done everything to bring them back and they refuse. The Bible actually also said it in this day that if someone offends you or you offended someone and you go apologize to the person said no, you went with an elder. They said no, you went with the church.
You've
they
done
said
everything.
No,
you go with the
you've done,
country.
he said no, that is done. Well, you are not bound because that's scripture as well. Another aspect I want to look at is this that we don't really talk about. That's marriage under the sea. Marriage that is conducted with deception. Now, why that is important is this. There are so many people, let me give practical instance that will drive this point home. You know you are impotent. You cannot function as a man. You can't get that that part up of from your, in your life, and you went into marriage in the name of, as a Christian, we don't want to do
Pretending to be
anything
celibate.
because we are afraid of the law. We fear God, and you got into marriage not letting the woman know, and after marriage, they find out that you can't do anything with her. That is marriage conducted under deceit.
Yes.
Now, another aspect also is you as a woman, you know you don't have a womb, and this man you know he really wants children, and you guys normally talk about it during courtship. I need to have 2 children or 3 children. You agree, yes, but you know
that you don't have
you
the
don't have a
ability
womb.
for eggs. Yeah.
And you just kept it inside of you. You know it's been removed, and you got married just to the man discovered that this is what it is. If the man wants to stay and faith it with you, or if the spouse wants to stay and faith it with you, that's fine. But does he have legitimate reason to walk away? Yes. Even in, I don't know the constitution in other countries, but in America, marriage conducted as under fraud,
It's annulled.
yes, can be annulled. And annulment means that the marriage never happened.
Yes.
Because it was done under deceit.
Yes.
This is not even divorce now. This is annulment.
Annulment. So what could, besides the 2 big things, right, which is like impotence or maybe inability to have kids, what other what could be considered deception?
There are so many things that are considered deception, but most of the ones.
Would you consider a person having like kids outside and didn't tell the partner found out only after they've been married? Would you consider that as can that be annulled, or can that be talked about?
Well, I think for me, deception is something that was done with the intention to mislead me.
Okay.
You understand? If I'm the type that I was never open to, or I want my first child to be your first child,
Yeah.
and that has been my goal in life and things like that, and you knew this, you kept it from me and you hid it deeply, I don't know how I can trust you. Listen, the truth is, marriage is just beyond this thing that we talk about. Marriage is
It's
built
very
on
deep.
trust.
Yeah.
If you can deceive me for that kind of a thing, I don't know if I can trust you
Yeah. I think,
going forward. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So if a child is somewhere and you didn't tell me that you have 3 children, and if the man can listen to me, it doesn't mean that it's applicable to every situation, that once you
Yeah.
just find out that this person deceived you, walk away. If you are the type that can take it and live with it, please, by all means. But if you are the type that says, I can't just trust you again.
Yeah.
If you want to walk away, I think for me, I feel it's valid.
Yeah. Please, guys, put in the comments what you think could be fraudulent marriage.
Yes, marriage under deceit.
Yeah, we've talked about impotence. We've talked about taking out, not having a womb. We've talked about what else did we just talk about?
We talked
Kids,
about
having kids. So
outside
let's know what
marriage.
your thoughts are.
And some of these things should be discussed. That's why you should discuss and make findings also before you get married.
Yeah, the age of the person. I don't know.
No, but for the age of the person, I don't. Some of those things that really have nothing to affect destiny or affect future.
Like for example, for some women prefer to marry older, people, someone who's like older than them, and then maybe this person is like maybe 5 years younger and lied, and then they found out like, what?
That means that no. If we go that route of, there are some deception that just
some deception are destiny defining deception.
Yes, there are some deception that are destiny defining deception, but there are some that just like some people who forge their resume. Or no, put some things on their resumes.
That's different. That does not affect anybody's destiny.
Okay, that's the point.
Because
if you talk about age, right? Do I love you? Does the man
I can start looking at you less like. So you this kid.
But is the spouse good to you? Many things. Is it provided? Is that some of those things are good, but like the things, the major 2 I actually talked about.
Yeah, those are destiny defining.
Destiny defining.
Yeah.
That means you are indirectly telling the other spouse that we cannot have sex all through our marriage, because if you are impotent,
adultery or
which can lead to an adultery, which is already a sin
or addiction.
Because I've heard a woman who said, I would rather walk away from the marriage than to be still married to him and be seeing women, other men outside.
Yeah.
The same thing. Some men can say,
Yeah.
I'll rather walk away than to go out there and start impregnating people because my wife cannot have a
Yeah.
baby because she doesn't have a womb. But although I've also seen people who trusted God, that she didn't have a womb, will trust God, but let the man in on it, from inception.
It was disclosed. Yes. So can we talk about this last one? Because I know someone somewhere is going through this. Can we just kind of dissect it?
Okay.
How about addiction that the person who is addicted refuses to get help? At what point can a person say, you know what, I'm done, I can't deal with this anymore? Let's talk about this. Any kind of addiction. It could be, drug addiction, pornography addiction, gambling. It could be any kind of addiction. The Bible doesn't say that addiction is grounds for it, but
Yeah. For me, in situations of addiction, right?
Yeah.
I have worked with some addicted people that are addict, either drug addict or alcoholic. I see addiction as illness. That some people are sick.
Yeah.
And when you're getting married, you said for better, for worse, in sickness and in health. So I think I would take the stand of the spouse staying and trying to seek help in different ways. Even if you say refuse help, let's try to find a way to help the partner who is addicted to go through this and overcome this. However,
I like however.
However, if this person, they are doing everything in the book
Yes.
to win him out of the addiction, and is not coming, is refusing the help, is not putting effort, and it's affecting the marriage, affecting the life of the children, setting a wrong precedent for the children, exposing the children. Like whenever they come, they see their dad drunk and falling on the ground and things like that, misbehaving, and it's bringing shame and embarrassment to the children. I think the partner should weigh the options. Staying with this person, the benefit and the impact it will have on the children. Based on that, he or she can decide to walk away, but like separation for a while till the person gets help. Not like just divorcing, that okay, I'm going to divorce you. I'm going to pick the children for the health and for the safety of the children. I think we have to separate for now till the other persons get help. And I think that is how I'm going to advise people to do on that.
What if there are no children involved?
When there are no children involved, and the situation is that tough, that this guy kept doing this, the partner or the spouse that is addicted keep going on. I think you should try everything you can to help.
After you've done everything, like you said, and the person is not just cooperative, and this is now draining you, it's affecting your job as the other person who's trying to help, is affecting you in every way. Personally, I feel that separation should happen. Because sometimes the person who is addicted, as long as they know you're there, you're going to be there for them when they've gotten to that highness and they're disoriented. They know when they come home drunk, you're always going to be there to do, they'll keep doing it. But sometimes you may have to deprive them from something that they feel like they at least have to help them. Sometimes they have to actually be forced. I don't know if you can force people in. You can force, some people do force. You can force some people into homes for help. Because at what point will the other partner, because the other person can break down, have a nervous breakdown, have a mental breakdown because they're trying to stay with you. So personally,
but for me, I think that, do you know that it's not every addiction that is dangerous to you're coexisting with your partner?
Yeah, not all of them.
Okay, if that be the case, right? It's just like people that have other kind of ailment. That is affecting the finance, draining the finance of the home, but you don't leave them because they have those kind of sicknesses. So why do you want to leave this person when you know that he's a nice person?
There's nothing nice about
No, listen now. He's a nice person, just that he picked up a wrong habit that became an addiction. And is there a way to help that person, if they try all, the Bible says, having
Yeah.
done all to stand,
Yeah.
stand therefore. Let's not take divorce. For me, I feel that not in every situation
True.
we should just take divorce as the end goal, or that's the next solution we have to focus on.
Yes, and I know that there's nothing that the power of prayers cannot do.
That's correct.
When you are a Christian, a child of God, and you happen to have someone in your life, your partner is addicted, and all science and medicals have failed, when you go to pray, God, there's nothing God cannot do. We've heard testimonies of I think it was you who shared that testimony of a
Yes.
guy who was addicted to cigarettes, but when he met Christ overnight,
Yes, the appetite of
he didn't have a cigarette from the next day.
Yeah.
He gave his life to Christ till
Yeah.
today. And also the lady that I interviewed on the on my talk show,
Yeah.
crack addict, overnight it stopped. So I believe that,
Miracle. God does wonders.
God does miracles.
Yes,
God does miracles.
and listen to this. Everybody, whatever we have talked about now, people have different reasons to live a marriage, even though it's not justifiable. But whatever you justify is what is justifiable to you.
Yeah.
In the society we are in today.
Yeah.
He didn't laugh at me. He looked at me in the wrong way. So I'm done. I'm divorcing.
Yeah, she was skinny, and now
Yes.
after childbirth, she's
Yes.
fat and everything is open. So I ain't doing no more.
But all these things, have we done all we can
Yeah.
to really sustain that marriage? Because marriages are breaking just for the tiniest thing,
Tiniest
irrelevant things.
reasons,
So
yeah.
there are some of these things that are not worth divorcing over.
Yeah.
Like, do everything spiritually, physically, medically, and otherwise, and find and see how you can restore your marriage,
Yeah.
instead of just anything. Your leg is at the door and depart. We have to get divorced.
Yep.
No.
Wow. Anyways, that's all we have for you guys. If you know any other valid biblical reason for divorce, feel free to put it on the comments. And we came up with something to help you overcome conflicts like that. It is called the 5 words that can end conflict. We have a free download for you. It is on the website, on the description. So go ahead and click that if you want us to be your relationship coaches. Don't forget to reach out to us. And most of all, like, comment, share,
Yeah.
and subscribe to our channel. I will see you again next week.
Subscribe.